energies of the full moon are bringing a lot up for clearing. A lot of new beginnings, a lot of closing of chapters, and sort of that combination of endings and fresh slates is encouraging me to talk about why people walk away from others. Despite love being present, despite love in our hearts, despite loving intention, love is never enough. And I don't want to say that in terms of being depressed about current state of affairs, or that love is anything to be fought for, because it just is. It is in us all once we've activated our heart chakra, once we've moved past the wounding. But first and foremost, we need to be able to love ourselves and honour what we need, our personal needs, to feel emotionally safe, to feel joyful, to feel at ease, to express ourselves fully. And obviously, again, I always sort of reiterate, this is not met without adversity and challenge, but sometimes love is not enough. Sometimes the dynamic of a relationship, this is platonic or intimate, I'm not specifying here because people don't need to know details, but sometimes love can be a trigger for the wounding of others, and it can bring out, or I can bring out, the worst in that other person. And so for me, having done a lot of, and it's not about better or worse, or that my healing is finished, but having addressed a lot of what I've needed to do, what I felt I've needed to do, whether that was by choice or by circumstances that push me into more reclusive states of existence, which I now find that to like. I do like social settings, but there's a lot of people now and stuff and content coming out about really reflecting on where we feel most happy, where we feel most at peace, where we feel joyful by default. And that can be in the sun, that can be by ourselves, that can be in nature or cities, it depending on, what our soul is calling us, wherever our soul is calling us to be. And so with the challenges that we're all met with, human relationships and the myriad of traumas that all of us go through, some of us are unaware of how much the trauma still is impacting their day-to-day lives. And a lot of the interactions and conversations I've been part of is just part of the triggering. Like, I seem to trigger an emotional response. And I'm not saying I do not react to situations. I'm still human and I have my own emotional stresses and strains. But I definitely can differentiate between what's mine and what's somebody else's these days, and the projections of others, which is why, that's kind of a huge tangent, I know when it's time to walk away, because throughout, and this is never, I never test, as there's been other people or some situations that I've been in and someone was saying, testing me, and it was about trust. And I get when people go through sort of PTSD and various darker things in their lives, that trust is a big obstacle to overcome, especially in new relationships, when somebody is new and you don't want to taint that relationship from things that have gone in the past. But and I know my own my own observations about trust in my own self and in relationships as well. And also people mistaking privacy for secrecy, as if I'm not a secretive person, I'm just very, very private. And I've been pushed into making those choices, having overshared and been caught up in the destructive behaviour of others and malicious behaviour of others around me. So that's why we sort of change the way we move, and for some reason that bothers other people, which means that they're focusing not too much on how I live my life and what I do rather than themselves. Big sigh. And basically, when we decide to walk away, or empath, or however we identify, it's usually after a long string of events, a long string of I don't really like to say the word problems, because I don't have problems in my life. We're presented with challenges and adversity, but problems are like created by people who've got too much time on their hands and have not done the healing. I think life is not easy, and we get better at it, as I said in the last video or whenever this comes out. And so over time and with new relationships, we observe behaviour. We observe behaviour because we've observed ourselves. We learn a bit more about human psyche and about human behaviours, and about where we feel good, at what are our needs and how our needs can be met in relationships and the needs of others, to the point where we're not sort of over giving, but things need to be reciprocal. If people desire to be, I know the energy that I present to the world, I believe, or learned what I'm continually, because it is continually cultivating, practicing, is a peaceful soul. Like, I'm good in my heart. There are moments of upset or grief or loss, darkness and love and joy that resurface depending on environments and the cycles of the moon and planetary shifts, as us empaths have started to say now. We're not just affected by the microcosm. It's a much bigger energetic sphere that can influence and impact our personal energy. And so the decision to walk away is never really an easy one. It's just, after putting yourself out there, after making the effort, after being the bigger person, after being the person to apologise, after a long, and this is not victim, it's just like, we try, because the game is, we forgive, we move on. Forgive, I can never forget things, and this is, that's the difficulty, is we forgive, we move on. Love is the continuum, it's the vibration that we exist on, love. But love is not to be abused, and love does not mean that we forget ourselves and abandon rhyme or reason. I mean, we can all have wild moments and whatever and stuff, but I'm saying, like, for healthy living, for the longevity, so that we're not constantly living on stress hormones that perhaps many of us have experienced in our lives due to Babylon and the Matrix, and needing to be overproductive and doing. And now with the restoration of the matriarchy, the energetic output is changing, and women are, and I speak my story. This channel is I don't do the pronoun thing, whatever. This is, I am a woman in this lifetime, in this lived experience, and this is I'm sharing my story as a wild woman, an embodied woman, without judgment of however anybody else wants to live their lives, or however they identify with. And so walking away is like, we get to the point where, like, we can not continually be the bigger person, and we cannot continually just put up with a lack of compassion and empathy and true reciprocity from another in any form of dynamic. I don't believe we should have to. I don't believe that anyone that would question us doing that is really coming or observing the situation from a healed perspective. I believe that love is a force to be reckoned with, and love is truth, and love shines a light on gremlins and the darkness, and true real love is long lasting, eternal, and it overcomes and overpowers any form of resentment, bitterness and jealousy, because we don't see a separation between us and the other. Again, I'm not saying I can spend time with loads of people and stuff, but I don't see a separation between myself and anyone in the world right now. I just know where I can move and where I can't move, and who I can move with and who I can't move with. I want everybody to win, and so it's after continual basically when my vibration, personal abundance, which is ever loving, like I only want to live in love, and that's why I tend to focus on children, elders and animals at the moment, is because I like to support the vulnerable, and that's just a part of the calling. It's not to make myself feel better, it's where animals have a very, very high vibration. I like the energetic exchange between in the non-verbal 1111 on the clock. I really like the nature connection. I love observing animals in nature. I love to see how they interact and the sounds and just the vibration. There may be some emotions coming up. This is full moon, so, and I'm aligned with that. So, and elders is because at an end of life, like as an end of life doula, especially having experienced some funny near-death experiences, it's like you change frequency, you move into a different realm, and so the way we observe and view life, also post-awakening, you know, it becomes very, very weird when you're pulled out of everything and you see things as they are, as I believe it in my reality, and the illusion or the simulation or the game. And at an end of life, I gain value and perspective and a lot of learning and wisdom from, again, observing the elders in my life and those who I've connected with socially or through work, and the slowing down the pace. Like, I love to be around elders because there is no rush. I really find rushing quite grating and find it quite a masculine energy that has been pushed on women in the patriarchy. And so for me to be around elders is quite a blessing when I get to share that time, is because of the slowing down and the observation and awareness and consciousness of existence and just day-to-day living. Like, there is no goal. We exist to exist, and we make the most of each day, and without too much planning. And the dissolution of various belief systems that we may have built up over time, over a lifetime, which is difficult at an elder age, but that's why I like the elders. And then the youth, the children, they're on such a high vibration, especially those being born right now, that the energy is just contagious, and that's why they need our protection, because they're magical. And so relationships outside elders, children and animals for me are really quite difficult at the minute, because spending a lot of time in a reclusive space, solitary space, pulled out of society excuse me, for whatever reason, whether people believe align with whatever I say or not, is some form of shamanic awakening that I did not choose. I didn't sign up for a shamanic course. I didn't say I want to be there was just this thing that happened, and I went to realms and through portals, not only with plant medicine, and I haven't done anything like ayahuasca or anything like that. There were just a series of events through. I've got a naturally vivid imagination and dreamscape all my life. I've been very connected to nature, and I don't really know why this is becoming a bit of a monologue. I didn't really want to say that. This is basically, well, things are shared for a reason, 14444, and I came on to say that the reason why I walk away is because we I'm in a much more tolerant space of my life. I forgive, I'm tolerant, but to the point where it starts to affect my personal vibration and bring me down from thinking anything is possible. Love is the language, like true love, not trauma bonding, not dependency. Real love is tough. It's soft and graceful in moments, but it is also about truthful, authentic living. And not everybody can handle that. Just because somebody speaks a harsh truth doesn't mean that they're not living in love. The truth is hard, and I'm not here to wake anybody up. I'm not here to, my words and what I've been through mine naturally, because this is I am part of what is going on collectively. But I'm just here to share my story. And what I've realised over past months and years is that either aligns with people genuinely, or people take offence to it, want to use me for what I might know in the spirit, or completely mistake or misunderstand like who I am and what I represent. And so I don't care about any of that. Like anything external to me, people can think whatever they like about me. But in terms of honouring myself and honouring the mission and honouring life and existence, for which I'm so grateful to be alive, I really don't need much. We all don't need a lot. Love, compassion and kindness, shelter and a little bit of food, and we are more than good. I mean, music's obviously very important, but we can all make music just from slapping on our bodies, and that is a very good thing to have a little try if you've not done that before, is body instrumentals. But anyway, is that I will walk away. And as I said, I'm not a lonely person, but we do have to spend, like, if we desire to live a more free life, that does come with a lot of solitary time, until we meet other wildlings who speak the same language, speak the same soul language. And so because I'm well versed in this language now, not a master, I'm just well versed, I'm ever learning. Yeah, I'm here as an eternal student of whatever the divine would like to present in front of me. And I just want to say, like, it's a shame people can't give themselves more credit and can't get into alignment to up the psychic intuition, because, like, when we start to do that, people cannot pull the wool over our eyes. People cannot tell us who we are. People cannot emotionally manipulate and use what they feel or see as love, when actions show different to me. Like how the actions come across to me that are not of pure love is deemed as loving in someone else's eyes. So that's why I've just pulled back from a lot and don't seek to save. I think what we can do, the biggest thing we can do in the world, is to heal ourselves, because that vibration as the creators of our reality is the biggest thing that we can do for ourselves, for our families, for past, for future. How all of those timelines come together across the realms and the dimensions